Hi, I'm Cameron, and I don't just read comics, sometimes I watch them. This is a bonus episode of Cameron Reads Comics, where my friend Jesse and I are going over Falcon and Winter Soldier, episode number 5. Just a heads up, there's going to be complete spoilers for episode 5 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. If you have any questions, make sure you submit them to us by Sunday night, and we will make sure that they are on the air answered. Make sure to subscribe to my YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram accounts, as well as clobber that like button and leave us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes. Now, let's talk about Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Episode 5. Hi.
Good morning.
I'm good. How are you? I didn't think you asked me how I am.
I did not, but how are you?
I'm good. I'm excited about, like, oh my gosh, all the potential. Like, as I'm watching this episode, I was like thinking about the future of the MCU, and like it's really ramping up, and it's all really exciting right now.
I agree with you. I was thinking of so many different things during this episode of where they could go.
Yeah.
So many things.
You know, afterwards, after this episode, we're gonna do a brief recap of the Shang Chi trailer that just dropped this morning. We record these on Mondays, so that's gonna happen.
Oh, like today?
Yeah, the one that dropped today.
No, I mean we're gonna do that today at the end of the episode.
Just a quick little 2 minutes on Shang-Chi.
The trailer was only 2 minutes. You should go watch it.
Yeah, first and foremost, stop what we're doing, go watch Shang-Chi, but also then come back and hang out with us. Okay, Jesse, so this episode was a lot, I don't want to say it's so different because the series has been consistent, but like action-wise, it wasn't quite there, but that's because we know that all the gnarly stuff's going to be in the next episode.
Yeah, this episode was quite different feel than the previous 4.
Yeah,
there's
there's a lot of payoff in this episode too, though, which I really appreciated.
And you know, I heard a couple people talking, and I read a couple things that they thought that this was the worst of the 5 episodes because the pacing was slower. But I disagree.
I completely disagree
a lot. I mean,
yeah.
the weight of this episode and everything that was going on. I don't know if it went over some people's heads. I don't know how it could, but yeah. I mean, I thought it was great.
Yeah, same here. I'm actually very surprised people are feeling that way because I think this is top 2 episodes for me.
Yeah, you know, I just read a couple of reviews that they thought the pacing was off and it slowed down. It opens with a fight. I mean, you get your action right off the bat.
Yeah,
but there was so many good things, and you don't need 45 minutes of pure action to make the show a winner. And this was a great episode. Yeah.
Okay. So just diving in, how'd you feel about the fight between John Walker and Sam and Becky?
Man, just watching John Walker walk into that warehouse and have the serum still affecting his brain kind of, and his PTSD kicking in, and it was shot so well, him kneeling in the sunshine.
Yeah.
It was really a beautiful scene before they started fighting.
It was shot. That's the one thing I noticed upon rewatch. The way that was shot was beautiful.
That was great. Yeah, it was great. I mean, it was very purposefully done, obviously, but the fight was, I liked the fight.
The sequence, yeah. Honestly, that I liked the fact that he was, we really see now, because the last episode it was kind of just like, oh, we're dropping the news that he has taken the serum.
Mm-hmm.
And this one is like, oh, we got to see him as a soldier, because he was a great soldier before that, and he was a capable fighter, the rest. And then now it's like, oh, we're not seeing him as a capable soldier. We are seeing him as that with the serum to make him that much more of a threat, which makes sense to why, Bucky couldn't just take him out on his own.
Right. And I was struggling with how I felt with the fight as I was watching it, because I'm like, man, John is really strong. This fight is 2-on-1, and while Sam's not enhanced, I mean, he should, they didn't make Sam weak either. Like he had
Yeah.
a great sequence when he shot the cable at him and pulled him across the floor. It was a good fight sequence.
Yeah, you know what's crazy too is like, the way that they're I was gonna say the way that they're shooting it or the way they shot it, either or. The way they shot it, I felt like a lot of like weight within the shield, and I know I'm behind on that because I know that they're saying that it's been a theme of the entire series is who the shield goes to, what it means, and the thing that kind of made the most sense to me, and it blew my mind, was the fact that the shield had been, like, obviously a shield. Captain America's shield was used for protection.
Mm-hmm.
John has now tainted that thing and turned a weapon or an item for protection into a weapon. And that's why I was like, oh, I didn't know how I felt about them taking the shield away, but also it was like totally, no, he needs to do that, and they're the only ones who are going to step up and do that. And they're in the fight. There's so many scenes where it's like, ooh. Or when they all end up on the ground and the shield's like literally perfectly in between all of them.
Right.
Because this thing means so much to each of these people. It just kind of blew my mind.
For different reasons as well.
Exactly. And like, I don't know. I'm just so excited for Sam moving forward. Because I think we all know that he's going to have the shield now, you know?
Yeah. And it was nice to see them all use the shield in that fight as well.
Yeah.
And then it ended super brutal, and it was glorious.
And it made sense too, because like the only way they could get the shield from Walker is to break his arm.
Yeah, yeah, man. Bucky broke his arm.
I was like,
Wait, yeah, Bucky broke it.
Yeah, well, I think he was being held down.
Or did Sam break it?
I think Bucky was holding him and Sam broke the arm.
Yeah, Sam broke his arm. Yeah.
But it was like both. You're not wrong either way. That kind of made how. Okay, I guess going from there, how'd you feel about the ramifications that Walker was facing, like under trial and under the rest?
I want to say one thing before I really get into that. As much as they make you hate John Walker, Wyatt Russell was the MVP of this episode.
Yeah.
He was so good, wasn't he?
Yeah,
like, just him in the warehouse and him like kind of raging, talking to Bucky and Sam, and then him in the Senate talking about how he's the soldier that the government made.
Yeah.
They made him. They trained him. He's just doing what they wanted him to do. But his acting was so good in that scene.
Yeah.
I loved it. I
think
hate him. I love Wyatt Russell as an actor in this. He was so good. He was better than anybody else this episode.
Yeah.
I believe. But what was the question? How with the ramifications of that whole thing?
How'd you feel about him being at a trial? Him being at the trial.
Like I said, that was a great scene. I don't want to get off
Again,
but it really reminded me of the Tyrion scene in Game of Thrones. If you've seen it before on trial, it was the same, and he was great in that scene as well. It was very reminiscent of that, the emotion and the weight that was going on in both those scenes was kind of very parallel with each other.
Yeah, I feel like him. That was the scene where what they're portraying him as is he is a product of the faults within the United States military. There's no knock on the military here, but it's saying like with the faults he's a
product of what they've made.
Yeah, exactly. And so then the way I'm thinking about it in my head is like the total pun. I'm like, he is an agent of the United States. Like that's what happened, and so he is now in my head U.S. agent. Yeah. So
for sure, and I'm just going to jump all the way to the end credit scene when he's remaking the shield, his U.S. agent shield, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, coming back, he's stating that you're right, you're correct. He is a product of the United States government, which makes him the perfect U.S. agent. Which I mean, I was thinking I'm thinking of I'm just thinking of Zemo going to the raft. Right?
Yeah.
They straight up said they're taking him to the raft. He's going to have access to other villains. They're going Thunderbolt, right?
Yes, I need to apologize to Jesse because we had a conversation earlier this week where you said the leader of the Thunderbolts is Zemo, and I was like, no, it's General Ross.
I think Ross was probably still
he
has a hand in creating them somehow.
Yeah, but I was reading the Wikipedia page because I was trying to get more background on some of the characters in this episode. You were definitely right. Zemo definitely is the leader.
Yeah.
And they reject him, and that's, I guess, their first arc of that series.
Yes. Yeah. Right? They end up turning on him, right?
Yeah. We'll gladly get into that if you guys want, but yeah.
Well, I just was thinking real quick that, I mean, as I'm watching, and that's why I had to watch it a second time, the kids are asking me questions, and the Thunderbolt thing's going through my head, because It's like it could be Zemo. It could be what's the witch lady's name? God dang it, from Vision.
Agatha?
Yeah, it could be Agatha.
Oh, yeah.
Agatha. They already introduced her. You know, I was having a discussion with a friend, and he's like, they could use Ghost from the Ant-Man movies. She'd be a perfect.
Is she dead?
No.
Okay.
Remember how she was the villain of the movie,
Yeah,
halfway through, and then you realize that she really wasn't
the
villain. She'd be good, right? John Walker.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, no, and there's more. There's like, who they're going to bring in, they're bringing back in is Abomination.
Sure, yeah.
I guess he's going to be in the She-Hulk series. Which is
Abomination,
oh my gosh.
John Walker. These people that they've introduced that might not, have their own show, but should be in the Marvel universe at some capacity. Zemo, 100% for sure. That's not the last we've seen of him.
Oh, yeah, he's too good. Like, I think, to the, positive rewards of Daniel Bruhl. I love his Zemo. I think he's a Loki level character, like charismatically, and I think he's kind of our next Loki.
Yeah, and that I think that answered kind of one of your questions, was like, what did I think about the Wakandans taking him? I mean, if it leads to a Thunderbolt payoff, that's great. But I also how did you like that scene between them?
What do you mean, him and
Bucky, where Bucky put the gun in his face and you thought he was going to shoot him in the forehead?
Yeah, it makes me think of the last time that, right before he aired on the series, where Sam was just like, "Oh, you want to be in a room alone with a guy?"
Yeah,
and I think it was a very, very great beat. It was a necessary thing that needed to happen because Bucky nobody else was there. It was him by himself on his own terms, visiting the memorial and. Where exactly where he knew he'd be, and then that being the case, they just had like a beat where he couldn't get in his head anymore. I think Bucky got some of his closure.
Yeah, and in that scene as well, like when Bucky raises the gun and goes to pull the trigger, Zemo is fully accepting of his demise. He's like, "All right." He was basically like, "Go ahead and pull the trigger, man."
Yeah. You know what?
I don't think he knew he wasn't going to kill him. I think he thought he was going to kill him.
Yeah. Absolutely, but it's the best part of all of it, and this is like why we love Zemo, but also why we hate Zemo, is that he said, "I forgive you" to Bucky.
I forgive you, and I've taken the liberty of crossing myself off the list.
Yeah, and it's
like no hard feelings, buddy.
Oh my gosh, I'm like, you have ruined his life. There's no I forgive you. I understand how the Avengers as an institution have wronged Zemo, and that's where he's going forward. I don't understand how Bucky has wronged Zemo. And so he was just I was like, oh, I hate you.
And that was part of my favorite things from the last episode too, when Sam told Bucky, don't let him do the head tilt thing. Yeah. As Zemo's doing the head tilt thing, and when he says it, he corrects himself like, oh shit, I'm doing the head tilt thing, man. There's just little things like that you might miss until you watch them again. You're like, God, this is so great. The writers are so great.
They are so great. Okay, going back to the courtroom scene with John Walker.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we need to get back there.
Afterwards.
Yeah, afterwards.
You told me this week that there's going to be a special a cameo.
Cameo, right. None of us, I don't think I saw one person call that one.
No.
I had a bunch of different things I thought it was going to be.
We thought it was going to be Daredevil and, Kingpin potentially and all these other things.
So why don't you go ahead and explain this one? Because even after watching that scene and seeing her come through, I still was like, I don't know who that is.
Yeah, but also, ooh. Okay, so in this episode, Julia Louis-Dreyfus came in and pretty much grabbed John Walker post his trial and says, like, hey, I'm going to call you, and the best decision of your life will be answering the call. She hands him a business card that has, it doesn't have anything on it.
There's nothing on the card.
But it's like, that's so freaking baller.
It's so baller, and she's like, my name is Valentina. It's like 10 names.
It's Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. Okay, so...
And she says, you can call me Val, but don't call me Val. Just do it in your head or something. Yeah. Which was so good, man. She's like, you can call me that, but don't do it.
And she's like, she's like, her first name, but even before all that, is like Contessa, da-da-da-da-da.
Right.
It's like, all right. So with her... It's interesting because she is a character from... the Jim Steranko Nick Fury run, because Nick Fury had his own comic for a long time, spy espionage books.
Right.
From what I read, and this is how I think it's lining up, and it makes me so glad she appeared in this series because I really do like this villain. She was a SHIELD agent. She actually fell in love with Nick Fury. They were together. Da da da.
Yeah, they had a relationship, right?
Yeah, and I think there's still room for them.
Of course.
Because I'm like, wait, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Sam Jackson, they're not too far from age. I mean,
you know what's surprising is Samuel Jackson is way older than you think he is.
Yeah.
But he just looks fantastic.
Yeah, and it would work.
Yeah, agreed.
And so she, long story short, became eventually Madam Hydra, which is crazy because they have it all makes sense that she would appear in the show because with the ties to Madripoor, that's very much something that Madam Hydra is a part of. But there's like Captain America, like Batman, like Robin, there's a million representations of the same character and people that have taken up these monikers.
Sure.
She's not the first Madam Hydra. And that's why I was waiting for them to introduce someone named Viper, because that is the kind of flagship Madam Hydra. And eventually Valentina Fontaine becomes that character. And I think that they're kind of like Scott Lang Ant-Man and Hope Van Dyne. They're kind of skipping over some stuff, and they're just going to make her Madam Hydra. And I'm so down for that because it's in the comics, Red Skull comes back and he is Red Skull still in Alexander Lukin's body,
Well, we all know where Red Skull's at.
Yeah, but it's like they can't do that, and that's fine. But I think to instill and I think there's room for Hydra to still be up to something.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I think that she is going to be now that new central character that we can follow. I don't think we're going to see any of her stuff pay off, obviously, in the series. They're not going to do it in one episode.
No.
My next...
honestly, I don't think that she'll even be there unless she's in like a credit scene.
Yeah, post-credit scene or mid
with Fury, which would be great. And
yeah.
it establish that, like, relationship that they probably don't have anymore, but they can touch on it and let you know that it was there.
I think that she's... I don't think she's going to go by the... I'm like, I don't know where she works for right now, because I think she either works for S.H.I.E.L.D. still, or she's like full Madam Hydra.
I mean, she's telling John that he didn't do the wrong thing. She was like, hey, man, you did the right thing. Everybody would have killed that guy.
Yeah.
Too bad you didn't kill all of them. It's just the ties, the suits, the government. They got to play by their rules, and so do you. And you didn't. But you better answer the phone when I call.
Yeah, literally. And so it's like, I don't know how that's going to stack up or what that's going to lead to.
But the way that she did it was so great because she wasn't menacing or coming off as a villain. She even his wife, right? Yeah. John's wife is kind of like, who is this? And she is like, sweetie, shut up. But then pays her a compliment.
Yeah.
At the same time. So she's like, kind of, it was a really cool introduction. I didn't see it coming, man. That was great.
Yeah, Madam Hydra.
But I was confused. I was like, who the hell? I'm going to have to go look this up, buddy.
And it's like, oh, I'm so glad that they can catch. I'm so glad we get surprises.
Yeah.
Like that. You know what I mean? I'm like, please just give me all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because I want to be surprised by these stories. Like, I don't want to know what's going to happen every time. And so, okay, which leads me to my next question. So spinning out of that, they kind of, on this episode, sit down, kind of sit on their hands, and that's why there's a lack of action. They were kind of waiting. They wrapped up tied up some loose ends on this episode. Like, how'd you feel about specifically Sam and Isaiah's conversation? That
was the most, meaningful scene, really, in the entire show. Isaiah talking about how he was treated and the mission that he went on to save his men reminded me of in Captain America, the First Soldier, whatever that movie's called, the first Avenger, when he goes and rescues everyone, when they're like, hey man, that's pretty much lost, and he goes anyways and does it. Isaiah's telling the same story. Like, his guys are captured and the government's like, we're going to bomb this POW camp and we're going to just get rid of the evidence. And he said, my men aren't evidence. I'm going to go save them. And what did they do? They put him in jail. But it was such a Captain America thing, right?
Yeah.
So I'm glad if you were paying attention, it was like, he was Captain America, but no one called him that. And that whole conversation was really nice to have with Sam because it showed you what Sam was thinking. And then you come to realize as the episode goes on why he didn't want the shield.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's funny because you don't know what Sam's thinking in that conversation, because Isaiah is saying, as a black man, you can't work for the government. You can't be Captain America. They want blonde hair, blue eyes, pledge allegiance to the flag, my brother.
Yeah.
Is what he says to him, right?
Yeah.
Like it was a sad scene. Like I felt really bad for Isaiah.
Yeah.
And
it's also, you see, like, some people want to be like, oh, how could you feel that way about your country? But his disdain for the flag and what America did to him, he's like, you don't think they'll kill me as soon as I like reveal I'm still around? I'm like, I really appreciated that.
And you want to think, as he's talking, times have changed. And
Yeah.
Sam says times have changed. But he is absolutely right. They would kill him whether it's 1960 or whether it's 2060. They can't let that story out. And Sam wants to help him. And Isaiah's just like, man, leave it alone. The thing I find funny about that is he's like, no self-respecting black man would want to be Captain America even if they gave it to him.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, Sam's going to change that, one.
Yeah.
And then two, your grandson is also going to become a version of Captain America.
Yeah, and when he comes on the scene, his grandson is literally just like, oh, I'm doing this because I'm honoring the first Captain America or whatever. Because I think he might have been on the scene before Steve was. Like, they were experimenting with the serum.
With the serum, and that's why he was put in jail and experimented on men. And it's tragic. You're 100%. You're like, yeah, yes. Like, no, I don't want to be, helped. I want to stay dead. I don't want anything to do with any of this at all. Like, like when you found me, man, I was just hanging out by myself. Like, leave me alone.
Yeah. It's crazy. And like, I think that's why when you said John Walker stole the show, I think the number 2 or in the same boat was Isaiah this episode.
Yeah, of course. That whole scene was done beautifully.
Yeah.
I just thought the chops of
Yeah.
Russell in that instance when
Yep.
he was slamming his fist on the table were great. But yeah, man, like that, I don't know who the actor is for Isaiah, but like, it was very emotional.
Yeah.
Him talking about I don't know if it was his wife or his girlfriend, man, and not getting the letters. And you really feel for him. And so does Sam. And he's almost got Sam like swayed to the point of like, man, you're right. Like, fuck all of this.
Yeah.
Right. And he goes home and he talks to his sister about it. And she convinces him that things are different. And the thing that ultimately, I mean, I don't think ultimately sways him because he's already training, was Bucky apologizing to him and saying that he apologizes not only for himself, but he apologizes for Steve as well.
Yeah.
We didn't know the weight of the shield, like what it was going to, like how it was going to, how do you say this?
Yeah.
Giving the shield to a black man and just thinking, here, you're Captain America. That's not as easy as it needed to be. But Bucky didn't realize that until he, spent that time there with him. And
yeah. Also, with that too is like the character beats. Like, I'm like, that's why I'm like, oh, this episode is so good. The character beats between Bucky and Sam was exactly what I needed. Like their arc together and watching them. Like, okay, so Bucky apologizes, does that, but then Sam is the only one who can actually break through to Bucky and be like, oh, by the way, like, what are you doing, bro? Like, you have not apologized or done anything. You're avenging, and you need to make amends.
yeah.
And it's like, oh my, like, great scene. And because again, I think what you and I were talking about like several episodes ago was that we didn't want to see them like tongue in cheek, like, buddy cop movie the entire time.
Yeah.
Like they've grown from that and strayed away from that. But it's a hint there, but it's not. You're seeing their like growth as characters.
Yeah, and Bucky thanks him for it, and then as they're walking away, because he's like, "All right, peace." They have that moment where they're like, "We're still not partners."
Yeah,
not partners. We're just friends with the same set of friends or whatever it was. It was a great, 10 seconds of them poking fun at each other again.
Yeah, and that's the balance that we need that Marvel does perfectly. But I'm just so glad to see how they're doing what they're doing. It's just awesome.
I also really enjoyed their bonding as they were working on the boat, and Sam's like trying to trying to pull off the railing and he's trying to fix the engine, and Bucky just comes up every time with his arm.
Yeah.
And he's just like, here you go. I'm strong.
Yeah, he literally.
And Sam's just like, motherfucker.
He's like,
just looking at him like, okay.
Thanks.
Thanks, man.
That's like,
Also, I love Bucky's flirting with his sister. And Sam was just like, ugh, stop it. Knock it off.
So.
And Bucky's like, no, I'm just saying hello. Like, don't worry about it.
He's like,
hey, Sarah.
Yeah. I'm like, not a suspecting couple, but like, I'm down for it.
Down for it, dude.
Okay, and then I'd have to mention Hannah brought up a great point to me. I don't know if you noticed it when Sam was training, that his nephews started calling him Uncle Sam, Uncle Sam.
I didn't notice that.
I didn't notice that, but that is too perfect to not be like
Uncle Sam.
Exactly, not to be perfect.
Yeah.
So Hannah, great. I'm giving you a call out like while he's training, while he's running and stuff, and his shield.
Good catch, Hannah.
Yeah, I was like, she's like, oh, I didn't know if I was reading too far into it, and I was like, oh no, that's a little too perfect.
Yeah, totally.
Especially during a training montage. Come on.
It was a full blown Rocky like montage, right?
Yeah.
Like full blown Rocky Balboa montage. It was hilarious because he kept missing the shield. He kept missing it. He kept missing it. He kept missing it. He kept missing it until he didn't, and you were like, oh hell yeah.
Yeah.
And you knew exactly what was in that box.
Yeah. Yes.
But with that being said, right, well, here, there's a present from the Wakandans. It's the Captain America Falcon suit.
Absolutely.
But maybe a chunk of change, too, so he can pay off the goddamn boat.
Yeah.
Like, come on, Wakanda, give me some money, man. Right? Like, come on.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that I was going to ask you what's in the box. That's exactly what's in the box.
It's the Captain America Falcon suit, and it's going to be glorious when he puts that bad boy on.
I'm like, I love that they gave, like, I feel like this was the most overt Falcon suit that he actually had, like, that we've seen him in thus far, but he definitely needs a costume change.
Okay, so 2 things. I know we can't go too long. My friend Hamby Mamby had a question, and he said, with Sam leaving the destroyed wingsuit, with Torres, he wanted to know if we thought that Torres would ever become a version of the Falcon.
I don't know. Okay.
It's a great question.
It is.
I mean, he left him the suit. Torres is like, I'm going to fix this thing and throw it on.
And again, that shows growth within their relationship, because remember when Torres was messing with Red Wing and Sam's like, don't touch that.
Yeah.
And now he left it with him. So I don't want to. I'm not going to say never, obviously, but it's also like Marvel knows what they're doing when they do something like that.
Yeah.
And so whether or not we see the payoff sooner or later,
he's too old to be a young Avenger, right?
Yeah, too old. Yeah. I want to look.
I mean, you're in the Marines, which is fine. You can go when you're 18. Maybe he's like 20, but yeah. I mean, he could be.
Yeah, but also Carly is
like 20 as well.
Yeah, Carly's barely. I'm like, she's like, I'm a teacher, and I'm like, you're still in school, girl. Come on.
Okay, that leads me to my next question: is the obvious conversation between Batroc the Leaper? Am I saying that correctly?
Yes, that was my next question.
Batroc the Leaper and Sharon Carter, aka the Power Broker.
Literally.
But what is she doing? That means that she sent. By the way, Batroc, his name is George, which is George St. Pierre, because then Carly calls him. She's like, George. I'm like, oh, they just named it just George.
Yeah.
Fine. That means Carly sent him the first time.
Yeah.
Because that conversation they're having, she's like, no, like you failed me the first time. I'm going to give you a second shot, and I'm going to pay you double. What is her agenda?
Okay, wait. So, for I don't know if everyone caught that. So, Sharon gets a phone call, and she's speaking to a French man. I only caught it because it said Batroc on speakerphone.
Yeah.
Batroc is the villain that was in Captain America Winter Soldier, and then he was
first episode fight.
First episode air fight sequence. That's who that was.
George St. Pierre.
Yeah. George St. Pierre, Batroc the Leaper. We just found out Sharon hired him.
Yes.
So.
And he shows up at the end of the episode with Carly with weapons. So I just, what's the agenda? What's Sharon's agenda?
My question is, okay, same thing. I don't know what her agenda is, because I still don't know if I quite believe she's a villain.
I don't believe that she is, but that's what I want to know. What is that? Why would she? What did she? So if she hired him the first time in that very first episode, Batroc was trying to take a soldier across the border for what gain? right? Just to lure Sam out?
Oh, I don't remember. Is that episode 1? I think that Sam.
I don't know.
No,
I don't know.
no, they're taking a soldier out of the like country because then they wouldn't have jurisdiction.
Yeah, they're trying to cross like the Turkish border.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's all I remember is that they wouldn't have jurisdiction, and so Sam, like for the sake of the United States, like came in and rescued the dude.
Yeah, but if Sharon hired Batroc to do that, like why?
I don't know.
Me neither.
Yeah, no, I have no idea why. And then like,
And now she's hiring him to deliver weapons to the Flag Smashers?
yeah. So I think that she's the person that texted Carly.
Oh, yeah, clearly.
Carly, obviously now. So I guess I don't know the answer to your question, but on top of that,
And I didn't really have a question. I was just like throwing it out into the ether.
You're
like,
saying what's on our minds.
Yeah, like what's going on here.
My question though, do you think it's going to be wrapped up by the next episode? Because I don't think it is.
No, we're gonna get a Falcon, John Walker. We're gonna get a Captain America U.S. agent fight scene.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if Bucky's gonna be involved in that.
He needs to be.
He needs to be. Should be, right?
Yeah.
Whether he's fighting Batroc or something, or the Flag Smashers, we're going to get closure with a portion of the story. Whether it's the Flag Smashers being disbanded, I don't think that we're going to get the Sharon answer.
I don't think we're going to.
We'll get a small answer, but it will not be closed.
That's my biggest thing now with these shows, especially, is like, because I don't think WandaVision has potential for a season 2. I just don't think that's going to happen. I think her story's going to carry on in the films. And I'm not, I think Bucky and Sam's stories are going to carry on in the films, but I think there's room within this series for a season 2.
Yeah.
And so.
Love it.
And so that's the way.
I mean, we're getting 6 hours. These are hour episodes, man.
Yeah.
So we just got, if you want to think of it like that, we just got 2 movies runtime basically of Sam and Bucky.
Yeah, so it's,
and I am all for another season.
It's great. I think there's that potential within these series, and so I'm really excited about that. I think Valentina. I am just trying to think of what are they trying to conquer and like wrap up in these next episodes, because I just don't know, and so that's really where my mind's going. Okay, Jesse, last question, though. What would you rate this episode out of 5?
I can't. 4.5, probably.
Oh, my gosh.
4.
Wow. It's okay.
Yeah, 4.5, probably.
I did the same thing last week. Yeah. I actually think I give this one a 5.
Yeah.
Because of all the payoffs within the relationships, like we had the arc with the boat, we had Bucky and Sam kind of growing in their relationship, Sam accepting his destiny, but also addressing the problems and the weight that comes with the shield. John Walker finally becoming U.S. agent, like great stuff.
Yeah,
all around. And how's this? Oh wait, also how Bucky's coming back. I think Bucky is going to come to. He's going to go to New York to make amends with the one old Asian man.
Of course.
And then they're already going to be in New York.
Yeah, of course. Because he's Bucky, Sam telling him that he needs to go tell people the truth. That's the obvious one that they set up in episode 1.
Yeah.
That, and Bucky also says to the Wakandans, hey, she said, you might want to make yourself scarce in Wakanda for a little while. And he said, no problem. I get that. But I might need one more favor.
Oh, I forget that.
He did say I might need to call in one more favor, and I was like, oof. They're going to show back up and help fight? Or what's the favor?
Could be, yeah.
Oh, no. The favor's the suit.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yes,
The favor's the suit. Okay.
Oh, my God.
I'm glad I just cleared that up in my own brain.
We did great. You guys were on that journey with us. Okay, and so... so one quick announcement. We are not going to... Next week's episode is not going to come out on Tuesday. It is going to be the Wednesday episode of Cameron Reads Comics. We're doing a Falcon Winter Soldier series review, so it's not just going to be episode 6. We're going to talk about the entire series, and so big announcement there. And then now, extra credit bonus content. Jesse and I both watched the Shang Chi trailer that just dropped. How are you feeling?
You know me, man. I love kung fu, karate. I grew up on kung fu movies, man. I cannot wait. It looks like Marvel's version of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, or Hero, or any of those great films. Oh, it's going to be great.
How do you like the mask on the villain? I'm like, I don't even know who the villain is.
I don't know who the villain is either, but I love me some ninjas.
Yeah.
So let's do it. Ninjas, samurais, nunchucks. Give me some Bruce Lee shit. It looks awesome.
Yeah, they're doing that like fight sequence on the roof, like in the construction site, and you can see the like the bright neon lights coming through. That was just so freaking.
But again, man, that like with this last episode, they're touching on diversity. They're touching on racism and making sure that the teams are gonna like having an Asian character, a strong Asian character, come in and hopefully be part of, if not the Avengers, at least the MCU.
Yeah.
Great, that's amazing.
I think it's gonna with that movie, and even the cast they have, it is Crazy Rich Asians level like excitement.
Yeah.
And so that cast I'm really excited for, and I think that's we only want to see it.
It's the same director, isn't it?
I don't think so.
From Crazy Rich Asians? No.
Well, let's look it up. Let's figure it out right now.
I mean, Disney definitely saw potential there with the popularity of that movie, and they are capitalizing on that. But bring in an Asian character. Yes, give me some karate shit. Yes, don't give me some karate shit with a white character. I don't want Let's be let's be correct here.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. Oh my gosh, this director. Sorry.
Is it?
It's not.
Okay.
It's not, but he did Crazy Rich Asians, and he did Justin Bieber, Believe.
He did do Crazy Rich Asians?
Yeah, he did. Oh, sorry, it wasn't. I was just looking up the Crazy Rich Asians director, and that's what I found.
Okay. Anyways,
he didn't say Shang Chi on this thing.
Like they didn't really make a mistake with Doctor Strange having Tilda Swinton.
Tilda Swanson.
Samsonite. That was way off. I mean, she was great. She's a great actress that can be anything. Yeah. But her character was an old Asian man.
Yeah, and they knew they misstepped there.
Yeah. So and they totally did. Like, why cast a white woman in an old Asian man's, like, dude, he's like a fucking Buddhist guru basically, and he's just straight up changed it to her. Whatever, we're already past that. Yeah. Hopefully they can make it up with this, and the trailer looked action-packed.
Yeah,
full of kung fu.
They'll definitely make it up. I need some more kung fu in my life, so I'm excited for it. I'm glad you're excited for it. Yeah. Already
soon,
Jesse.
too, a couple months. September.
Barely, just right around the corner. We have so much content coming soon, so what we lost in 2020, we are so making up for.
Oh, when I know we're gonna run long, whatever. It doesn't matter. When I was looking up Madam Hydra, it said that I think that she actually has a small part in the Black Widow movie too.
Oh, she totally could.
So.
Oh, that could be.
Look out for that. If there's not an actual scene with her, there's mention of her.
Oh, I believe it. So we still, like, everyone wants to have an opinion. We still don't quite know when the Black Widow movie takes place. You know what I mean? Within Scarlett Johansson's MCU tenure. So there's totally room for them to, like, do a slow burn.
Yeah.
On that. And, at the end, how's this? At the end of whoever the Taskmaster is, they could totally recruit that person for the Thunderbolts, who'd be, like, the Deathstroke of...
Yeah, Taskmaster for sure. Yeah. Or even the other girl who's probably going to become the new Black Widow.
Oh, her sister.
Her sister, right? Yeah. She could be part of the Thunderbolts too.
All of the above. All of the above. Anyways, thanks, Jesse. And thank you guys for checking out our weekly Winter Soldier reviews, Falcon Winter Soldier reviews. Make sure to go follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. And if you're listening on YouTube, make sure to clobber that like and subscribe button. Alrighty, well, we will see you later. Thanks, Jesse.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye.